Dick, of course, gave comics of color the freedom to speak truth to power. Many don't know, but before Dick came along, African-American comics and performers couldn't just stand up and tell jokes. They had to sing and dance and shuffle. So when we say stand-up comedy, Dick was truly the first stand-up comic. Continuing that family legacy, please welcome comedian and Dick Gregory's nephew, Mark Gregory.
All right, praise the Lord, everybody. How y'all doing? Good. All right, cool. Well, listen, first things first, I'd like to definitely acknowledge Bishop Peebles and his wife. Let's clap it up for them. Please clap it up for them. Yeah, I got to say this is my first time here, and you all have a beautiful church, so clap it up for that. Y'all have an amazing church here. You really do. I go to church myself. It's nothing like this. You all have what I like to call unnecessary money at this church. You really do. Yeah, unnecessary money is when all the bills paid, y'all got extra money to do stuff like buy a 100-inch TV. I don't know where you get that from, but just balling right here. Y'all really, what I call, got that check. You really do. And then I feel safe here. Typically, when this many black people get together, sometimes, you know, you really don't know. But we got the Nation of Islam here, and they not playing, okay? They not. Yeah, they not playing. I got frisked going to the bathroom. I was like, I just gotta go. It was like, my brother. Nation of Islam. Most importantly, man, my uncle paved the way for comics like myself, you know, so I can stand, as he would say, flat-footed in a comedy club telling jokes. So if there are any other comedians in the house, stand up at this time. I know there's some comedians that have come. Yeah. Thank you all. Say this and get on out of here. It's actually because of my uncle that I'm doing comedy. My junior year in college, I realized I hadn't read any of my uncle's books. I went to, yeah, you know when his family is like, that's just Unc. So the two books that I knew that he wrote was Calluses on My Soul as well as Niggers. So I go to the library. I went to a white school in Mississippi. And I said, hey, do you all have Calluses on My Soul by Dick Gregory? So the lady starts typing in the computer, but she was typing like she was going to give me the book. All of a sudden, the type kind of slowed down, and her face got red, and she looked up with fear in her heart and said, we don't have Calluses on My Soul, but we have... And I was like, you better not say it. And she turned the entire computer screen and was like, we have that one right there. I said, you better have that one right there. So anyway, Dick was my dad's brother, and my dad passed away in 2005, and of course, all of his siblings was there, and they were there to say some kind words, but I think my uncle had fought for civil rights for so long that whenever he got a microphone in his hand, his mind kind of reverted back to the 60s and the civil rights movement, and he just kind of blacked out and said, my brother was a victim of this white racist tyrannical society. Huh? His body gave out on him. His blood cells gave out on him. Y'all want to know what blood cells? Them white blood cells was the ones that... I looked at my sister, I was like, do he know he just had a stroke? It wasn't nothing about no. Y'all, Mark Gregory, thank you all.
When our mothers and fathers decide to change the world, and they do, their places in history are cemented, and they're among our most honored and revered legends. Picking up the mantle to continue the fight for justice are the children of the waymakers and freedom fighters we hold so dear. So please put your hands together to welcome Reign Pryor, the daughter of Richard Pryor, Martin Luther King III, the son of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., REENA Evers, daughter of Medgar Evers, and ILYAHSAH SHABAZZ, the daughter of Malcolm X.
I am honored to be here and share in this day of celebration of our newest ancestor, Baba Dick Gregory. I remember the first 3 books my father ever gave me: Revolutionary Suicide, Huey P. Newton, Malcolm X, and Nigger. I was to read them and understand them well. Today I can feel the ashe of our ancestors. I can feel the ashe of his family. I can feel the ashe of all the admirers that are here. Baba Dick Gregory, prolific activist, wielding truth like kings wield swords. His words poignant, funny, painful, awakening, joyous, like that of ancient griots who float on ancestral drums, heard in the rhythm of our hearts. Baba Gregory was a part of my prior life. Since I was old enough to understand and listen with a whole heart to the stories that made our eyes water and our sides split from masterful and master-filled lips that poured out truth libations. Truths that were soul food, truths that were a map so we could live by their words. Baba Gregory would tell me, drink truth wisely, to choose your words like the great ancestral wordsmiths without getting drunk on its lies, told about us and told about them. Be who you say. It don't matter what the theys have to say. Be your purity. So today, as we honor our newest iconic ancestor and stand with the Gregory family, let us all remember what the real meaning of carrying the legacy means. Carrying the legacy is not for us to become, it's not for us to morph into, it's not for us to imitate their greatness. The legacy is to always speak our highest truth and become better than their greatness. Better than what they carved out, etched, and breathed into this life. It is to recall their spirit and those of the ancestors and keep them lifted in our actions as we become the change they sought, as we become the words that they wrote. Legacy is what runs through our veins and every manifestation that we touch. As Baba would have wanted, let us celebrate and raise up his living legacies so that they can keep growing their wings. And as we say in my tradition, when magic touches both earth and sky, Asheo.
Glory, glory. Hallelujah. Glory, glory. Those words that were sung earlier to bring us here, to bring us home, spoke volumes of this wonderful man and family that we honor now. Miss Lillian, my brothers and sisters, the Gregory family, our hearts, our love have been with you for decades, and they will never, ever leave you. When my sister, and I call her my sister AYANNA, said, "REENA, I need you to be on the program," I said, "No, I don't do that. There's another person that does that, not me." But there's no way that I could not be here and express my love. Talk about the truth, the blessed truth that our fathers, our mothers, and so many aunts and uncles, whether you're related by blood, have spilt the blood of truth for freedom. That's what the legacy's about. That's what we, as their sons and daughters, try to continue, but live by the words and the wisdom and the spirit and the heart that they have implored upon us, that they have given out to the world in sacrifice of time with family. But I think I know the Gregory family a little bit to know that with the Evers family, with my brothers and myself, the time that was given might be small, but it was humongous. It was quality time. It made the most impact upon our lives and our hearts and where we were to be and to move as human beings. We are here to hear about the funny man, the straight man who impacted our minds and impacted our hearts. Though they were not blood brothers, my father and Dick Gregory were brothers of the spiritual part. They connected on the intellectual level. They connected emotionally, especially when he came to our home in Jackson, Mississippi. And welcome back, Mark, if you ever go back to Jackson. I remember the times of heated discussions and peals of laughter, because my father had a wicked sense of humor. And Dick Gregory brought out every wicked strain he had. And I just remember there was one time that they had a heated discussion over the N-word and where it was appropriate and how to use it and how to own it or disown it. I found out later in my 20s when at one function that we attended with Dick Gregory, he came up to me and said, "Girl," I said, I'm here, come here, sit down." Yes, sir. Sit down, come here. Y'all just leave us alone because other people are around. And he said, I want to tell you about your dad. And I want to tell you the promise I made him. I'm your godfather. And I said, what? He said, I promised him I would protect you and I would help you move up in life. And that's not moving up financially. That's spiritual. That's understanding what humanity's all about. So I have special memories of laughter, but always of knowledge. Always of feeling from the heart, determination to make things right. So I thank you, Miss Lillian, for always being there and understanding your husband, your love. I thank you, Gregory family, for listening and honoring Daddy when he wasn't there. I love you much. Give him H-E-L-L up there because I know y'all are having fun.
Let me thank God for the opportunity of all of us to be here on this celebration and to borrow some of the words from Dick Gregory, who used to say that I hope and pray that our returns home will be equally as safe. First, to Miss Lillian Gregory, who is beyond a rock, and to each and every child of Lillian and Dick Gregory, to his grandchildren and to his great-grandchildren, and to the entire Gregory family. This day is a day of celebration. And I can remember as a mid-20-year-older having a true opportunity to meet and fraternize with Dick Gregory on one of the first occasions, although we'd been together when I was a child. But it was at that time that I traveled around the country with him. It was at that time in 1984 that we went to Ethiopia to deliver food to children and families that were suffering because of starvation. And later on, we went to London, England for the first enthronement of the first Anglican African bishop of that church. And then when I became the president of SCLC in 1998, in fact, I thank the People's Family, Bishop People, your late mom and family, because our installation was here at the Jericho City of Praise, and Dick Gregory was here. Every board meeting that we had those 5 years that I served, just about every board meeting, Dick Gregory was there. So he's been a friend really to a lot of us. But he was a mentor to me, like a father figure. Having lost my father at 10 years old, not having an opportunity to have adult conversations, but having the opportunity to have many with Dick Gregory. Many of those words, those deeds, I will never forget. I think it's very interesting that when Dick Gregory transitioned on that day in August, that on that same day in the state where his children were raised and wife lives in Massachusetts, there was the largest demonstration for peace and justice and human rights on the day that he went home to live with God. I think it's very interesting that just yesterday in the city of St. Louis, where Dick Gregory was born, that there were protesters protesting about the death of an African American who had been killed by police. And what probably went unnoticed was most of those protesters were white Americans. Even they realized that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I'll close with this brief story about my friend and all of our friends who loved and taught us how to be loving, how to forgive. But you know, this story goes like this. My grandfather used to tell it. He used to say there was an old lady in a town, and there was a doctor who administered health to all of the folks in the town, and the doctor had passed. And the old lady came up to his office. His office, people would line up around the office for miles. And this old lady came up and wanted to know where the doctor was. Nobody paid her much attention because she was very short. So she kept coming until she got near the front of the line, raising her voice, "Where's the doctor?" Nobody said anything. Then she got right up to the front of the line and she yelled with all her ferocious voice, "Where is the doctor?" And someone looked at her and said, "Lady, read the sign." And on the sign it said, "Still in business, just moved upstairs."
To the family of Dick Gregory, his beautiful, beloved wife, Sister Lillian Gregory, and his 10 beautiful children, I bring greetings of peace and power from the SHABAZZ family to comfort you during these challenging and enlightening times. And on behalf of the greater community, I thank you for sharing your husband and your father, who helped to lead us in our reclaiming of truth and justice. To the extended Gregory family, distinguished speakers, artists, special guests, and friends, I'm honored to be here today, knowing that our foreparents' significant contribution and sacrifice to the world over and over and over again are not in vain, and that our great ancestors are lining up to welcome their brother, Baba Dick Gregory, into the mighty kingdom. They're anticipating a progress report on the status of humanity, and so, people, our work must continue. On behalf of my 5 sisters, I am humbled and honored to be here with you on this special day as we celebrate the life of this extraordinary man, Baba Dick Gregory. Much like our fathers, Dick Gregory stood up to the power structure to reclaim truth and justice for his people. And when it was time to clarify who took Brother Malcolm's life, it was Dick Gregory who rose to the occasion. And when it was time to clarify who assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King, it was Dick Gregory who rose to the occasion. He raised his voice for Malcolm and Dr. King and Medgar Evers and all of the others who were slain by bullies, by bigots, because they could not do so for themselves. When this new generation of powerful voices reminded the world that Black lives matter, it was yet again Baba Dick Gregory, who stood by them and spoke truth to power whether you liked him or not. And so you see, sometimes we forget the social climate that beckoned these men and women to step forward, that they were not the agitators, rather they challenged a superpower system that was historically unjust to its own people. We forget that those who stepped forward were human in the flesh, that they were tired, however virtuous and compassionate. And when you're raised by individuals who are selfless, trustworthy, and giving, with no hidden agenda other than to make you and me a better person, you believe that those outside of your household also possess these virtues. And so when these individuals are physically gone, you realize the gift that God gave you, the gift that God gave all of us, the gift that he calls back to the heavens to be by his side. And so we know that Dick Gregory was a comedian, an intellectual, and we know that he was funny. But what was so extraordinary about him is his willingness to share a story, but not just any story, an engaging story that informs, entertains, and empowers his listeners. It was his ability to criticize us because he loved us. And like my father, he saw himself in us, misinformed and miseducated. And so shortly after my mother passed away in 1997, my sisters and I attended a gathering with distinctive African-American leaders, Maya Angelou, Aunt Coretta, Dick Gregory, amongst them. And I was sitting quiet, and Dick Gregory came over to me and started talking. He said, "ILYAHSAH, have I ever told you about my magic glasses?" He said, "One day I was just walking in the forest, minding my own goddamn business, and I saw something glistening in the grass. So I bent down to get a closer look, and it looked like magic. It was a pair of glasses that illuminated light. But before I could touch these eyeglasses," he said, "a spirit surrounded me. And the spirit said, 'Dick, don't pick up those glasses. Because if you do, you'll see images that'll consume you. Pains and injustices your stomach will not contain. Your heart will pound through your head, and there'll be no turning back. Criminal sins of injustice committed against humanity.' It said, looking through these glasses will change the course of your career and require you to act and share the gospel." Dick Gregory explained that meeting my father acted as a lens which identified what he could do in this quest. You see, before Malcolm's life was taken from us, he said at the heart of our plight was not race but economic injustice. And Dick Gregory said, "We must ensure the economic system is just and fair, or the masses of our people will continue to remain trapped and lingering on the periphery of economic justice and opportunity." Today, we know that Dick Gregory has elevated himself, and on his behalf, let us pray that we never forget the indelible mark this great man made to the world, and that God will accept him in the highest heavens, Janaltu Furdus. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Brothers and sisters, please surround her with love as Miss AYANNA Gregory provides a special musical tribute to her father, Dick Gregory.
Wow. I want to thank Terrence Cunningham for writing this song for me. It was the hardest song I have ever written. I was afraid that it wouldn't be right. But I was so glad that I didn't wait. And I was so glad that I was able to honor him in song while he was still here. The first time my father heard this song, he cried. And when he got on stage, he said Malcolm, Martin, and Medgar never got the chance to hear their children talk about him. I stand before you with my brothers and sisters who just spoke, as well as my blood kin, and I stand before you as a collective representation of the children of the movement. Somehow Mama knew God had a plan for you. With a light around your head, someone tried to hurt you, but you made them laugh instead. Funny man, superstar, change of plans, the movement called 10 kids and a wife. But human rights became your life. Like all the other universal pearls, Daddy, you belong to the world. Golden heart, brilliant mind, so ahead of your time. Black man with the keys in your hand. Oh, you opened up the way for a new day. As a little girl, I didn't know what you meant to this world. If I had a dime for every time somebody told me that you saved their life and changed their minds. You planted seeds so long ago deep in me, so I would grow into a flower who loves herself. Dad, I had to tell you myself. So proud of what you stand for. All these years that you've endured. Golden heart, brilliant mind, so ahead of your time. Black man with the keys in your hands. Oh, you opened up the way for a new day. The original cool, 'cause y'all know my daddy's so cool. He always broke the rules with the courage to tell the truth. He brought the rhythm the blues. Black man with the keys in your hands. Oh, you opened up the way for a new day. Let me tell you something. From hunger strikes to war on drugs, taking out the corporate thugs. You went to jail 1,000 times, exposing white supremacy crimes. From human rights to eating right, you led the world into the light. A universal God force. Information is your power source. Fire starter, innovator, peacekeeper, magic maker, actor, author, philosopher, comedian, warrior, soul survivor, golden son, freedom fighter, chosen one, living legend, the coolest, yeah. See, the world still ain't caught up with you, yeah, no, no. Black man with the keys in your hands. Oh, you opened up the way for a new day. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory, yeah, till victory is won. Yeah. I am a daughter of the struggle. I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mama.
Ayanna Gregory, ladies and gentlemen. Ayanna Gregory. Thank you, Ayanna.